Hello, Geico Gecko? Would you give me half $500 million? No? That is outrageous. I demand to speak to your caveman.
You undoubtedly picture a wealthy man, maybe even a billionaire, when you think of Trump. He is frequently listed as one of the richest people on the planet in magazines like Forbes. Additionally, he frequently brags about his wealth, way more than anyone should.
Trump, of course, has said many, many times he could pay this $500 million bond because he's really rich.
I'm really rich.
There you go. There you go, that checks out.
Which is just one small reason why most sane people can't stand Donald Trump. Someone who brags about their wealth all the time is annoying, but it's much worse when it's a total fake. This is the situation with Trump, who says he is extremely wealthy, but the true amount of his amount is much smaller than what Trump claims. Maybe he's compensating for something he's not too proud of.
And last week, his lawyers claimed that for their super rich client, securing the bond would be a practical impossibility. So he doesn't have the cash. Aha! He's not a real rich guy, he just plays one on TV. Donald Trump has $1 billion the same way Patrick Stewart has a spaceship.
Given that Trump has a habit of stretching the truth or just starts making up tall tales on the go, it is not shocking that he is a pathological liar. The fact that he cannot even afford the $500 million bail for one of his fraud cases is simply amazing.
Today was supposed to be a special day. A day that Donald Trump had to either fork over $464 million for a bond in his New York fraud case, or Attorney General Letitia James was going to grab him by the property.
Even though he is working extremely hard to stay out of jail, he is unable to raise the money to do so. He claims to be worth billions of dollars, yet he is unable to come up with the funds to make bail. Now, where's all that cash disappeared to? It's a mystery that hasn't been answered, or maybe Trump isn't as rich as he claims to be. Perhaps he needs to run another Trump University scam to get the disgraced former president back some of his green, or maybe he'll again scam the American people to elect him president so he can personally benefit from being commander and chief. Some broke people become desperate, so we need to desperately act to make sure that cannot happen again. As Stephen Colbert's recently noted on his program, Trump is broke as a joke. Because Trump likely doesn't have the financial means to file a defamation lawsuit, Colbert's may make fun of him without worrying about legal repercussions. Because of his current financial situation, anyone can openly criticize Trump.
The pundits are saying the court handed Trump a lifeline. Well, that makes sense. Have to throw someone a lifeline when they look that much like a waterlogged corpse.
As he's currently facing 3 more criminal trials coming up that will take up all of his time, money, and resources. It's fair game to pile on the insults on the Orange Man.
That he is also facing criminal charges in the Stormy Daniels hush money case, when she spanked him with a magazine before marinating his shiitake.
Today, we're going to dive into just how broke Mr. Trump seems to be. Let's start by looking at how much money Trump actually has, or at least claims to have. It is generally accepted that Trump has a net worth of about $7 billion. Not only does he have no money, but a judge in the New York appeals court has mandated that the former president post $454 million in bail in order to prevent the execution of the current judgment against him. According to Trump's legal staff, he is in a desperate situation and cannot afford to post bond.
Anyway, the appeals court cut the amount to only $175 million. It said he has $500 million in cash, undercutting his lawyer's claim.
According to reports, Trump has contacted at least 30 businesses, if not more, to ask for money to cover his bail. Trump and his legal team had until March 25th to raise the required sum of money in order to post bail for a judgment worth millions of dollars. Trump tried to ask for either a reduced bail or no bail at all, arguing that he would suffer irrevocable injury if forced to sell his properties, even though he knew he couldn't raise the money in time. We all know he will lose his appeal, so this plea is absurd. It won't look good for Trump if he can't get the bond. To stop him from attempting any pranks, officials will restrain his hands and limit any lawful motions. Then, they'll target his money. Seizing his bank accounts would be the first course of action, according to experts. State prosecutors will need to speak with the New York City sheriff in order to proceed with removing funds from Trump's accounts. While getting a warrant to take Trump's bank account sounds like an exciting idea, it's crucial to think about the challenges involved in taking larger-scale assets, such buildings, enterprises, and companies into custody. It will take a while for 500 corporations and LLCs to give up ownership so that the sheriff can sell them at public auction in order to pay the judgment and collect the $455 million that is owed. Despite the fact that it can seem unreal, this is totally feasible. It seems that Trump is unable to get out of this situation. On Monday, a New York judge granted Donald Trump permission to post a $175 million bail, delaying the execution of his fraud sentence and sparing him from a punitive decision. Trump was given 10 days by the court to locate the required sum. His possessions will be protected, and he will stay out of reach.
This morning, a New York appeals court cut Trump's bond to $175 million and gave him 10 more days to pay. Every time it seems like consequences of any kind are closing in, he gets away with it.
If he succeeds in doing so during this window of time. Trump's most recent triumph was an unanticipated but significant one, saving him from an impending financial catastrophe. Trump's bank accounts and businesses were at jeopardy due to the impending financial disaster that he had been a part of until this verdict. Though it was a very close call, Trump prevailed as usual. Colbert was disappointed, but he didn't let it stop him from being funny. He spent the entire evening mocking Trump, and it was brilliant as always. Even though Trump only received a smaller bond, it's still fortunate given the extent he might have gone to in order to get the money. It's reasonable to presume that the judge reduced the bond in the right way, given his previous statements. Who knows what kind of problems Trump may have created if he had accepted funds from foreign governments to cover his legal bills, after all.
Trump was also asked whether he'd accept financial help from outside the United States.
Would you ever accept money from a foreign government to pay the bond or your fines or?
No, I don't do that. I think you'd be allowed to, possibly. I don't know.
Could you write the answer down on 500 million pieces of paper and have it put in my account?
Emotions run the gamut when it comes to the bail situation involving the financial difficulties of the former president Donald Trump. It might make some people laugh, but it can also make others feel sorry for the man who was once the nation's highest official.
The guiltier he is, the more the crowd loves him. It's never a great sign when your press conference answers could just as easily be cackled by the Joker.
As a presidential candidate, one can only speculate as to Trump's beliefs regarding the significance of his previous financial difficulties, his conviction, numerous bankruptcies, and now the large bail amount he needs to pay all doubt on his candidacy. Will voters be too preoccupied with his personal failings to see past these problems and concentrate on his policies? It is probable that hosts of late-night talk shows like Stephen Colbert may share their clever opinions on the subject. Colbert, who has recently gained even more significant success by making light of politicians and their gaffes, will no doubt give Trump a hard time.
We also got a glimpse inside the courtroom thanks to sketch artists, including this one of a grinning Trump. And I know that because when I Googled Happy Frog, I got this.
However, even if the jokes might make you giggle, they also draw attention to how serious the situation is. Voters should carefully assess the character and integrity of candidates for the presidency because it is a serious position. The American people will ultimately decide who will be in charge of the country for the next 4 years and what kind of path it will go on. Whether they choose a leader with a troubled past or someone who can bring new ideas to the Oval Office is up to them. Regardless of the result, it's critical to keep in mind that democracy is a luxury and a duty that should never be overlooked. Undoubtedly, Donald Trump has consistently been a contentious figure, and his latest remarks are no different. Though his remarks may surprise some, it's crucial to keep in mind that they are in line with his previous actions. Trump has always been a contentious figure in the public spotlight due to his divisive language and dubious business dealings. With recent, but more than merely his remarks are raising questions. Trump's behavior, or lack thereof, is another reason for concern. He continues to downplay the seriousness of the COVID-19 epidemic and refuses to take the necessary steps to protect the American people in spite of multiple warnings and entreaties from medical professionals. However, as they say, everything that rise must also fall. We will keep you updated as events develop regarding Trump's impending fall, which appears to be happening very quickly. quickly, whether it's because of his multiple legal issues or his incapacity to lead effectively. His presidency appears to be coming to an end. In the unlikely event that his appeal is denied, bankruptcy might be his only choice. There is no denying that Trump has had financial difficulties in the past, and his refusal to accept them could ultimately come back to haunt him. He is not exempt from the repercussions of his acts, even with his wealth and influence. Moreover, Trump's conviction for fraud has permanently tarnished his character. No matter how much he tries to twist the story, he is powerless to dispute this. This stain on his record will ruin his legacy for eternity. In conclusion, it's obvious that Trump's public life is drawing to a close. The American people ought to be better served by a president who puts his own interests ahead of the welfare of the country. Interested in joining the fight to keep democracy alive and keep fascism out of the White House? If you are someone who is tired of the lies and flat-out disgusting behavior of certain politicians, join our mission by sharing this video and channel with everyone who needs to see the truth. Subscribe, hit that like button, and send this video to everyone who believes that nobody is above the law. The truth will always prevail. Stay calm, subscribe, and vote.